Good evening, I'm Spot On Weather meteorologist Matthew Euler. Tonight's video is titled Living on the Edge. And when I refer to living on the edge, I'm going to mainly refer in this video to the temperatures and how close we are basically between milder and much colder temperatures here in Southeast Virginia. So let's go ahead and kick it off. We're going to start with Tuesday, the 31st of January. Now, before I get to that, really quick, I want to mention a quick update on Sunday evening into Monday morning. There is going to be a little bit of a clipper that's going to move with some moisture from Kentucky and Tennessee, and it's going to move east towards Southeast Virginia. And that's going to come in late tomorrow, Sunday night, late tomorrow night, the 29th of January, and that's going to last into the early morning hours on Monday, the 30th of January. We're not expecting major impacts with that system, as it will start off possibly as a rain-snow mix closer to the coast, towards Virginia Beach, and closer to the water, and then transition over to a snow shower, a lighter snow shower. So if anything, we're still looking at a dusting to possibly 1 inch of snow, but mainly the 1 inch is going to be up further north on the peninsula, Newport, north of Newport News, that area. So I just wanted to give you a quick update on that. We've been watching it, but it doesn't have a lot of moisture to work with, and the dynamics just aren't kicking in to create a major winter type storm in the area. All right, so now that that's done, we're going to move right into Tuesday, the 31st of January. So at that time, we have a little Alberta clipper, a little clipper system, 999 millibar low over lower Michigan. We have a swath of snow from central Canada, northern Minnesota, in through Wisconsin, lower Michigan, northern Ohio, and into Pennsylvania. A little bit of rain shower activity on the south side. For Southeast Virginia, we're expecting dry conditions. We are expecting temperatures to start moderating on Tuesday. They'll start becoming a little bit more mild again. Monday is going to be very cold, the 30th, and then we expect temperatures to moderate. Monday we may only see highs in the lower 40s, maybe 43 or so. And then by Tuesday we expect temperatures to rebound close to 50 degrees actually, as the winds become more southwesterly over Southeast Virginia. If one thing you do learn from these videos, southwest winds in Southeast Virginia, any southwest wind generally gives us moderating temperatures and more mild temperatures. Now let's look at the jet stream on the 31st. So the amplification in the jet, we have a very deep trough of lower pressure across the eastern U.S. this weekend. That jet stream flattens out generally across the eastern United States. So that's another reason why we're moderating for Tuesday with the temperatures. We're not as amplified with a deep trough over the east. Notice this deep area of upper level low pressure there situated with the trough well off the west coast. Moving on to Wednesday, the 1st of February. That little clipper system that was over lower Michigan moves straight east, becomes a low pressure system there in the Gulf of Maine. It's situated over the Gulf of Maine at this time, with snow showers from Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, New York State. A lot of more lake effect snows as northwesterly winds blow over the relatively warmer lake waters. For Southeast Virginia, we're dry. We do have a cold front that will be moving south through the area on Wednesday, which is going to reinforce more cold air back into the area. So after a milder Tuesday, we may see temperatures fairly mild initially early on Wednesday, but then we expect this cold front to move through. There's a cold front situated just along the Virginia-North Carolina border at this point. It's going to push through. This jet stream really doesn't change a lot in its positioning as far as amplification. We do have a little bit of a northwest wind pattern at the upper levels on the jet stream at 30,000 feet, but not really not much change. And then also notice the position of this upper low sitting off the west coast. That really doesn't change a whole lot either, and really doesn't move east into the west coast. And then we have an upper level low that's situated over eastern Canada. Now this is going, really there's two main players in the long range. This upper low and the upper low off the west coast, because this upper low will direct very cold air southward into the eastern United States over time. And this upper low, if it stays far enough west, it will allow this ridge to continue to build, and that could dislodge much colder air southeast. So we're moving on to Thursday, the 2nd of February. Again, southeast Virginia's dry. We're generally about 45 degrees at the surface here where we live on Thursday. Okay. Now I will caution you also that the European weather model is colder than this GFS model we're looking at tonight. So, I tell you, this long range is really interesting to me because all it's going to take is a slight greater amplification here in the western United States and western Canada, and then this upper low to direct much colder air, amplify this trough much deeper, which is a real distinct possibility still. I don't know if I'm necessarily sold on the fact that this is just going to remain more zonal west to east like this. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two pressure systems, again, how they play into the long-range forecast. Thursday, the jet stream is pretty much west-east, fairly zonal. And again, we're fairly seasonable in temperatures on Thursday, the 2nd. Now, by Friday, the first of a parade of little weak clipper systems starts moving across the mid-Atlantic. And we are right there. We could be cold enough, the thickness values, to be right there on living on the edge, on the border between the warmer and the colder air right here in southeast Virginia. And a weak area of low pressure tries to form there over South Carolina. And so you have this wintry weather on the north side. You got this 1038 millibar high over northern Minnesota, and the flow around the high is clockwise, so it's going to redirect some colder air southeast towards the mid-Atlantic. And meanwhile, you have this area of low pressure, which is far enough south. It's a fairly southern route type storm, which is going to bring in some snow over the northern edge of the precipitation shield for Friday. So we got to keep an eye on this one, because this could have impact as early as Friday on our weather. Notice the jet stream, really not much have changed between the 2nd and the 3rd. It's still fairly zonal across the mid-Atlantic. Now you notice this ridging is still there, and that upper level low now, it's starting to move in closer to the west coast, but it has weakened drastically. But you have this ridge here, and that could be enough. If this bumps up and amplifies just a little bit more, that wind could be directed more northwest to southeast. This trough could be sharper, and we could be much colder. Moving on to Saturday, the 4th of February. Again, dry. That system on Friday is a quick mover. May result in some light snow showers around our area. Okay, that moves off to the east, offshore, and again, we dry out. And again, our temperatures don't change a whole lot. Our highs are still in the 40s. But dry day for southeast Virginia next Saturday. The jet stream, again, hasn't changed a whole lot. Now, this here, you can see the ridging, and again, the airflow is directed from northwest to southeast. We're generally zonal, more west to east, westerly winds, the upper levels at 30,000 feet over our area. But again, this is very intriguing right here. See this north to south, southeast component to the jet stream? It's very possible this trough could dig out deeper, again, is what I'm emphasizing in the long range. And that could result in colder temperatures. Sunday the 5th, Super Bowl Sunday. We are still dry. We have a 1028 high pressure system over eastern Pennsylvania. We have some cold air wedging going on. So we have cold air basically to the east of the Appalachians working its way all the way down into Georgia. We have a new area of low pressure that's developed over Arkansas with a swath of snow from Missouri, central and southern Illinois over to southern Indiana. Rain to the south. This is the next system we got to keep an eye on. So we could have a fairly significant winter-type storm between the 5th and the 8th of February. So it's something to keep an eye on. Now, I want you to notice the pattern. So remember, I told you how concerned I was about how these winds become north to south. And look at this now. This is a strong north to south component of the jet stream. This air is originating all the way from the far northern pole areas from the Arctic region, and it's pushing this cold air that's in the base of this trough is going to get pushed further south and east. At this point in time, it looks like the coldest air will stay in Canada, in the base of to the north of the base of this trough, and the winds still remain fairly westerly across our area. But again, this can change. So you can see how the amplification of the jet is going to funnel to colder air southeast. By Monday, the 6th of February, here's that storm system. Another storm system as it moves east. The European model, by the way, has a low moving further south and then offshore with possible snow in our area, accumulating snow, while the American GFS, which we're showing here, has the track bringing warmer air in on its front side, counterclockwise flow. On the east side of the low, there's warmer air and rain. In the coldest air and the snow stays well to the north over West Virginia, Western Virginia, into Pennsylvania, into New York. Look at the jet stream here. This is basically pointing more from northwest to southeast, and this is a strong amplification of the jet. And that will result in cold air spilling southeast into the eastern United States. And this is what I'm really interested to see how this plays out. Okay. And then we move on basically we're going to move on to the extreme cold look here in Canada. Okay. We move on and look, I want to show you these temperatures. This is amazing. These maroons and oranges. Okay. I want you to pay attention to these areas here. The main point I want to get across here is there's a lot of cold, very cold air. -24 all the way to -36 degrees Celsius air at 5,000 feet in both of these, on both the 6th and the 7th of February. Now, I just picked these two dates because it's towards the end of my long range. But I just wanted to show you, if the amplification occurs, that this whole slug, the very coldest of air, could possibly drift all the way down into the eastern United States. Now, right now, that doesn't look like it's the case, but it's very possible with so much cold air sitting in this position. All right, so now we're going to go to the long-range final thoughts. First of all, we're living on the edge, and we are because we're situated right along that border between milder and much colder temperatures over the long-range period. The potential exists for us to be much colder if this western ridge amplifies in a greater manner. Very cold air persists in Canada and could easily spill southeastward in the eastern United States. This right here, very cold. A more active pattern with fast-moving weather, weaker storm systems will be occurring every 3 to 4 days. And the potential for a major storm between 5 and 8 February still exists. Southeast Virginia sits around the critical 534 to 540 decameter thickness line, which will determine what type of precip we get. Rain or snow, mixed, or just snow. A shift in the storm track or amplification of short waves through the long wave pattern can change a rain forecast to a snow forecast. So again, we're living on the edge when it comes to temperatures, the critical thickness values. And the European model is colder, while the American GFS is milder. And then what effect will stratospheric warming have? Stay tuned to Spot On Weather for the latest updates. USA weather graphics right now have been down for nearly a week. The site is down. I'm unable to update the graphical forecast and post it into Facebook and Twitter, but we're hoping to have that up soon. And then follow me, Matthew P. Euler, on Facebook, Spot On Weather on Twitter and Instagram. We do have a Spot On Weather YouTube channel, which you're watching, and we do occasional weather blogs on our Spot On Weather Weebly page. And there's the website. All right, that wraps up the long-range forecast. I'm excited. It looks very interesting. I tell you, it could be a real interesting next 7 to 10 days. All right, that wraps it up. Spot On Weather. Remember, if we're not spot on, we're not doing it right. Have a great Saturday evening, everyone.